Hello and welcome to My Neighbour, the Ghibli and Anime podcast. My name is Ian.
And I'm Nikki.
And today we are here to look at Up on Poppy Hill.
Yes. I know. I made you watch it.
You did make me watch it.
As usual. Yes.
You did.
Because you went, we've got to do the new podcast properly. And I went, you're watching this.
Yeah.
Basically.
And I'll give my opinions.
Keep them to yourself.
Of the podcast. First, as we will always start from now on, if you give us a 5-star review, we will pick a random person
Whoa.
to read out.
This is random from one.
Now bear in mind, we've had a break,
300 years.
So this one's quite entertaining. So this is from Tribeck72 over on Apple Podcasts, and it's entitled "Yes." Yes,
they have a snake.
Amazing, but haven't posted in 3 years. Correct.
That's very true. It's very true.
It's correct. Oh, she's correct.
They are correct.
Yeah, we haven't, but no. We're back now, so all good. So if you want a little shout out, by all means,
yes,
give us a review. A nice review.
A nice one. Yeah, not just any old review.
If it's poor, I'll be honest, I'm just going to push it to the side. But hey ho.
And he won't show me.
No one will know. No one will know. Right, so Up on Poppy Hill.
Yes.
Let's give it a brief premise. Now, warning, as with all our podcasts, there will be spoilers. If you haven't seen the film, go watch it, come back.
Oh, absolutely.
Simple as that. This is not us dancing around. We will be spoiling this movie.
Well, I tried to just put the premise together without giving everything when I've given everything away.
But it's not. This is a podcast of people who have seen the films.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, give us a bit of an idea of the premise of how we found it.
Okay. Well, this is how
you.
This is all in my own words. So I put it's set in 1963 Yokohama, just before the 1964 Olympics. So we follow Umi, a 16-year-old schoolgirl living in her grand's boarding house with her little brother and sister and other professional young ladies that live there. Mum's in America studying medicine, and Dad died on a supply ship in the Korean War. And it's because of her dad that she raises her flags every morning. So she's got signal flags she puts up. It was so that her dad could come home when he was alive, so they were thinking of him. But then when he died at sea, so she's doing it so he can find his way home.
Now, is that... Oh, well, let's just jump in there. Did you take that as she knew he was dead, or she had that brief hope that he was still alive and would actually come home?
I think a bit of both. She knows he's dead, but I don't think she's ever lost that tiny slither of hope that he is just lost.
Because obviously the Japanese have much more of a belief in the spiritual side of things, and that people are always there, much more than our culture does. But I did feel there was a bit of her that believed he might still be alive.
Oh yeah. There's definitely a bit of her that hopes that one day he'll walk through the door, and I think in the dream sequence they have where he's there, I think that tells a lot about how she feels about the whole thing, that she wants her dad. I think ultimately she does know he's dead, but his spirit is lost at sea. She's guiding him home, so you could see it on both those things. She's hoping for him to walk back, but she's also guiding his spirit home to them. So anyway, that's what I took about that. No, it's fine. Umi meets Shun after he throws himself off the Latin Quarter clubhouse in an attempt to save and bring to the notice of people the said building. Together, eventually, I'm not going to go into all the details of what they do. They band together the school to tidy and repair the clubhouse. And in amongst this, Umi and Shun get closer. So sweet. Until a fateful day when Shun, seeing a photo of 3 sailors, is convinced that him and Umi are brother and sister. It's just like, no. I was like, no, when I was watching it the first time. The principal, though, is still determined to demolish the Latin Quarter, so Shun and Umi head off to Tokyo to see the chairman after a long wait, which I think is a lovely scene. I'm just moving my papers here. They convince him to visit the Latin Quarter. He saves the clubhouse because it brings back memories for him. Also, I think that you've got to remember that at that time Tokyo was trying to move forward. Well, Japan was moving forward, wasn't it? It was trying to erase a lot of its past in some ways. And I like the fact that these young people are trying to save some of the past.
Yeah.
because, it's all
but they're
about...
embarrassed by a lot of their past, weren't they, in particular the wars.
Yeah, but this wasn't
no
that. But yeah, so I quite like the fact it's young people trying to save their heritage in this. Anyway, Umi and Shun rush to see one of the men from the photo on a boat to find the truth of their father. And after this is all explained, Umi and Shun aren't brother and sister, and life settles once more into lovely peace where their little romance can flourish. I ship those two. It's so cool.
So Umi is having to essentially look after the
she does
house.
Everything.
So she's getting up in the morning. She's getting the breakfast ready for the people.
Yep.
She's going to school. She's coming back. She's picking up the food and then cooking the tea.
Well, she had to go back in, didn't she, to get the... Oh, what was she getting? Pork, wasn't it? Yeah,
because she'd run out of meat because she'd taken some of her time that she would normally do that to go to the house to help the lads, didn't she?
Yeah, and she'd use them in the breakfast, didn't she? Yeah.
So that was quite interesting that this young girl, which again, it's a different time. Let's be honest.
But also, it's her grandmother's house. She's living there. She's helping out, looking after the people that pay to be there. Mm-hmm. So that's how to look at it. I mean, they have got help come in that did a lot of the help, especially when they had that picnicky thing in the garden to say goodbye. So yes, it is quite impressive how much she did.
And her siblings didn't do.
No, they were really terrible, weren't they? She'd been rushing around, came back from school, and can you go and get this? No, the programme's just started. And that is typical brother and sister thing. No, I don't want to. Yeah.
It is. It's quite sad. But she didn't seem to be down about it at any point, I don't think.
She was rushing. She was kind of
she was stressed, but it didn't make her sad, or she didn't ever whinge that she had to do this work.
Well, they didn't animate that. She went out the door, slamming it, stomping down. For
Stupid
God's sake,
family.
Nobody helps me.
Family.
But yeah, no, they didn't show that. She kind of shouldered her lot, didn't she, happily?
I suppose she'd taken to that role of being the mother, with mother not being there.
Yes,
over in America.
Yeah. Because that must be hard as well. Your dad's dead, your mum's gone. And your grandma is an old lady. She can't do all the stuff. And she was keeping the accounts as well. So she was doing everything to run that house.
She was the mother of the house, as well as doing her education.
Can you imagine any of your 16-year-old children doing this? No.
But then I suppose that role is important to continue the story, the way she goes to the clubhouse.
She organises that.
Sees the state that it's in.
Yeah, she's an intelligent girl who can think round problems.
Yeah.
And I think that's what she does.
And possibly also further on, which we'll talk about shortly, where she goes to the meeting with the chairman, she's able to say what she truly feels because she's got that intelligence of dealing with adults maybe more.
Maybe, or maybe she just, because of, I suppose, maybe losing her father, she wasn't as straight-laced as the two boys that went in, was she? She was more... eloquent in how she's put across. She spoke from the heart, didn't she?
She put her feelings across.
Yeah.
As well, rather than just typical lad.
Yeah. Yeah, they were just different. No, that's not the right word. They were just, they were bowing and scraping to him more.
Yeah,
she just
that's true.
This is
powers of people of respect, I think, especially over there, they respect somebody who can speak to them as an equal.
Yes,
as well as respecting them at the same time.
I was going to say yes, not just speaking.
There was no disrespect in any way, shape, or form.
No, of course not. So. No.
But as you said, that was a nice scene where they just sat there for
hours and hours. Bless them. But they did get brought a cup of tea or some water or something, didn't they? Eventually,
but she didn't seem to eat. Was there a drink? They didn't. There was a drink. They didn't seem to finish it.
Oh.
Again,
we'll
that
just
might
assume
be a
that, when the animators weren't animating that bit, they were definitely drinking that.
They just forgot to remove the fluid from the cup.
To be fair, though, I was like, if you've been there hours, I'll definitely need the toilets.
I felt sorry for when she had forgotten the food, and she had to go and get more food.
Yeah.
And she got a lift from Shun.
Yes.
On the bike.
Yes.
But it seemed to take minutes and minutes on the bike. So the thought of having to walk all the way back up that hill. So if it took minutes down a hill on a bike, it's going to take so long to walk up
go up that hill.
Steep hill.
At least he could have done is pedal her back up that hill.
I mean, that would have been slower than walking.
I know.
But yeah, I just think you poor girl.
Yeah, she had a potato croquette. It's fine.
That's true. Right.
Yeah, I know.
Potato croquettes.
Yes.
We've recently watched a Japanese movie.
Yes.
Which was called
Hold Me Back.
Hold Me Back. A live action.
A live
love
action.
Story, as opposed to animation.
Yes, okay. A film.
and that part of that story revolved around potato croquettes.
It did. It did.
Is this a thing?
It was a love croquette as well. It was heart-shaped.
Yeah, at one point it was, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But it did seem to be that, obviously, again, I don't know Japan well enough to say this, but it does seem must be a tasty, cheap snack.
Maybe it's better than ours. I feel that they look crispier. To
be fair, the ones we eat are generally frozen, aren't they?
Yeah, you see.
Maybe they're freshly made and freshly fried.
I think they would be.
Ooh.
You can make some potato croquettes.
We need to look into the potato croquettes.
Yes.
The Japanese potato croquettes. If you've ever had one, please do contact us and let us know.
And I'm if they are different.
And why they are particularly used for romantic purposes, as it seems to be in movies.
It seems to be, yes. Yeah, I've even watched a series I'm watching at the minute, and that's got a potato croquette in it. Just the one.
It's a business idea for the UK. Potato croquette stall.
Romantic
potato
heart-shaped croquettes.
But yeah, it was interesting, as I say, the way she just got on with life, walked up the hill, no problem at all. So we said about the flags.
Yes.
So
we could have done this wrong.
We could have.
I mean, let's be honest. There's a 90% chance we've translated these wrong.
So, officially, the film says she raises signal flags with message, "I pray for safe voyages."
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
We went and compared from the images we had the flags against the international language of flags.
Yes.
And we came across with...
You are going into danger. I require medical assistance. Have a pleasant voyage.
Now, we're no flag experts.
I'm imagine pretty certain we've got that wrong.
I imagine the creators have done a much better job of understanding the way these flags work. However, officially, that's what we're going with.
It's okay. Have a pleasant voyage.
I was expecting just to be able to, do a straight match-up and make sense, but it's not quite that clear.
No, but again, I think that's us, not the film.
No, I completely agree. We're just sort of using the internet, which
never
is
a good
not
idea.
a good idea.
never
Let's
Google
be honest.
anything.
But it did make me giggle.
It made me laugh. Yes.
So then we come across also the issue of Umi and Shun's relationship.
What, when they think they might be brother and sister?
Genetic sexual attraction is the official term.
We're going into murky waters, aren't we? I think it was because it's quite a difficult thing. I just think Star Wars. It's quite a difficult thing to come across. I mean, the fact that they weren't brother and sister, but when they thought they were, and then they tried to not be attracted to one another and just be friends. And then you had that bit as they got on the tram and they told each other they loved each other even though they couldn't do anything about it, and that was heartbreaking. And then you find out it's all okay, really. But yeah, it's interesting. It tackled that topic in a way. But also it tackles what happened after the war with all these babies that were left getting adopted so they weren't put into like the system basically and lost as orphans.
But again, that's another thing about Japan. They've got much better family values, I feel, again, than the Western world. They do look after their elders. Yeah. They will take family in, even though in this particular case...
Yeah, but they were like family, weren't they?
He was a young child that needed a home.
And like I say, he didn't want him to become an orphan, so therefore he was taken in and given the family name. Yeah. So he had a family name, even though he wasn't the father.
So the clubhouse, then?
The Latin Quarter.
That is truly a magnificent piece of design and art and animation.
Yes.
To create this clubhouse of multiple levels.
Yes. And multiple dereliction. And mess and boxes. I was going to say, it's mess. The building itself,
they don't actually do any real work to the building, so the building itself must be safe-ish. It's more the
I mean, the banister falls off. They fall through the top of a thing.
I'm talking about
they
structure.
Pull off the wall.
Structure. So I'd like to think it is safe.
Safe-ish.
But yeah, I say there's multiple years of junk and and a collection of their work.
Yeah.
Because these aren't your typical teenagers messing about.
Oh, they are
trying to learn things in their own way.
Every single bit of it is a club, isn't it? So you got
a club of learning, though. So it's not just.
Oh yeah, they're not.
They're all learning things.
Or the chemistry club is definitely blowing things up.
But still trying to learn.
Yeah. They've got the philosopher, haven't you, in his little hut. The kids outside doing the sunspots. And
it was amazing how big they made him as a character.
Yes.
In relation to the girls. He was huge.
Yeah. And very emotional. There's a lot of snot and tears with him.
There was. There generally is in Japanese productions, though, let's be honest. When they cry, they cry.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful house. And as a guy, I would have thought that at 16, that'd be amazing. Just to get away from everyone.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? It's your own space to be, well, at 16, you're trying to find your place in the world, aren't you? You're trying to show that you've got a view, that you could change the world in some way. You've got all this grandiose ideas, and at least this club was letting you explore those parts of yourself, which is nice. Yeah.
So, music.
Mm.
This may be a...
Oh no. Oh no, I think everyone going to hate us now. Well, I didn't dislike all of the music. And I love Ghibli music, but I found this one jarring. I know it took 1960s influences into some of it. I'm not a big fan of the accordion.
To be fair, a lot of the background music, other than the more thought-provoking scenes, was very 60s orientated. I felt at some points it felt a bit childish, even though it wasn't meant to be.
Yep.
It had that sort of childish vibe, which kind of took us out.
Plonky sound, which is terrible to say. Oh no. But yes, I found it jarring. If you listen to the pieces, which we've done, then I don't think it doesn't fit together well. Some soundtracks, I mean, Totoro for starters, it all fits together really lovely. And this I found jarring because it wasn't a cohesive set of music.
And we were discussing, you have a vocal piece halfway through as well, which just doesn't... it didn't work. I didn't feel anyway. No,
that's fine. Like I say, I'm not a big fan of the accordion. But I like the start though, because it's like Cooking Mama. When she was making breakfast, it's like, oh, Cooking Mama song.
Satoshi Takabe is the composer for the whole soundtrack.
Which he was more of a type composer, keyboards and that kind of thing. So that was the type of.
I mean, as far as like you say, it fit with the era.
Yeah. You could see what they're trying to do, but I didn't think it quite worked.
Do you feel the movie felt of its era, though? Did you think, oh, this is the 60s?
No, it had to put it out that the Tokyo Olympics are the next year, that kind of thing.
It didn't feel anything other than the lack of technology. That was literally it. It could have been many of the Ghibli movies. It feels in that same time frame, that same universe. Yeah. And it wouldn't. Yeah, you wouldn't clearly know it was the 60s.
Yeah, it would look out of place.
You could say the 80s, to be fair.
I was going to say 80s.
You could even say some of the 90s, it's...
Early 90s, but you could take anything from 60s to 80s and it would be fine fitting in there.
So, it didn't stand out. So I suppose the music had to be?
To give that hint of the 60s.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But then they can't always get everything perfect.
Well, it's only our opinion.
Yes, that's very true. What do you guys think?
That means nothing.
So the screenplay, obviously, Hayao Miyazaki. Mm-hmm. He does all right, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He does all right.
He does all right.
But it was directed...
He knows how to do one.
It was directed by his son, Goro Miyazaki, which was interesting to read up on. It's being passed down.
I like that.
Yeah.
Keep it in the family. Keep the genius flowing.
Well, you've got to have a particular talent in the first place.
He's probably already retired 4 times by this point and come back.
What, his
He's
son?
very good at... No. No, Hayao. He likes to retire and come back.
Yeah.
He's come back.
He's come back.
He's doing another one.
We're still waiting on that other one.
Yeah.
Again. It's interesting, though. I mean, he does, obviously, a hell of a lot of the movies. I'd be intrigued to see how he is passing on his talent. Whether he is to the extent, I don't know. Can you pass on this talent? I don't know.
You can pass on your ethos.
You can, which is a very hard-working ethos, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, favourite scenes. Is there a particular favourite scene?
We've already discussed it now, my one, which is that absolute perfection of artwork that is the Latin Quarter when you first go in. It is perfection. It takes your breath away. You could have that as a wallpaper on your phone.
Yeah.
I haven't got that one as a wallpaper on my phone, but I have.
You're now thinking of it.
I am. I just think that evokes so much of the people that are in it. So much of the detail. I mean, you could take any part of it and it will have paint peeling or something, or on the outside or the inside, you've got cracks, you've got cobwebs, you've got where water's dripped down walls, which happens in real life. You've got all that staining, all of those cracks. It's lived in. And that's what I like about Ghibli movies as a whole, is that the artwork is stunning in the backgrounds, and it always looks lived in. And I think that's what I like.
And we brought up my scene, which is the meeting with the chairman. And I think it's more to do with the way the chairman his whole attitude. They were fearful of having to go and talk to this guy. And whilst they're sat there waiting, the amount of people that walk in and come out looking so
got that one
destroyed.
That runs, don't you? Pass, and then he comes back with his head down. You're like, oh,
and
that didn't go well.
This guy's just going to be a complete and utter.
Well, yeah, because when they go in, he's got that meeting set up, isn't he? And the next door, and they don't look particularly happy in there.
But he listens to what these essentially children are telling him. He doesn't listen, like I say, to the lads so much. But when she starts talking about her beliefs and her
and what happened to her as well, what happened to her father?
Yeah, he takes note.
Yeah. But also, it was reminding him of what because he said, I skipped school. And it reminded him of being a kid again. Yeah. So he was going back to his time. I think he must have been there because he said it was always looked the same. So I think it evoked that kind of feeling in him. And that's why it struck so much when Umi said. Did you,
or when you first viewed it, did you well up at any point?
Of course I did.
Go on.
Obviously, I welled up when it was like, oh my God, they're brother and sister. I was like, this love is forbidden. I welled up there. That was a definite welling up. And also with her father, when she comes down and thinks her mum's there and her dad's home. Yeah, I cried at that one as well.
Yeah. I may have hidden.
Did you hide it? Tear. Oh my God. I don't cry at anything in these films.
I struggle with, as you well know,
daddy issues,
daddy moments, father moments. Having lost my father when I was about 24.
Are you welling up now?
No.
Are you sure?
No, a little bit.
Don't cry on the first one.
So any sort of scenes that include, especially the thought of father returning in some way, gets to you.
Yeah, that strikes a chord with you, doesn't it?
Every time.
Yeah. It's okay, keep blinking. Rapid blinking.
So, yeah, I hid it quite well.
You did actually, because I think I did say, and you were like, no, fine.
No. So, yeah, they played that well.
Yeah, they do. Ghibli films will always get your emotions. Just think Grave of Fireflies, we are completely
Not always,
ruined.
but we'll
okay, we'll see that when we get to
Not always.
Them. Okay.
But yes, they did that well, and for me it is usually the parent sibling child dynamic. So yeah. Right, we're going to talk about meh bits, as we called it. So music we've already sort of discussed.
Yep.
So my only problem, which I think we said at the time, was the ending of the film.
Yes.
In the sense that they get the pair. Well, it's actually Shunin to go and meet a former.
Well, Shun and Umi go.
Well, it's Shun on his own, and he brings Umi along, doesn't he? But it's Shun that's told to go and meet this guy.
Yes, yeah, his dad tells him, yeah.
And they have to then get to this boat within such and such a time to go and meet this gentleman.
By 4:15.
That he could have just sat down with his dad.
Well, I also thought, because Umi's mum had explained to her what had happened as well.
Yeah.
But then she went, is there any chance, dad could be his dad? And then I was like, sure. And I was like, oh, but surely she would know. All right, maybe she wouldn't know. So I found that a little bit like, oh, did we need that bit as well? But yeah, it was a bit.
There was a few bits there that it could have been done a little bit better. I don't know. It's It's just the fact that his father could have sat him down and told him this.
Do you think we lost something in translation?
Maybe. I don't know. It was just they could have done that story. Yeah, if maybe it is that translation issue.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But okay. I can see where you're coming from there. Yeah.
Food then. What food item am I going to try and cook from scratch?
Is it something with rice?
No, it's tempura prawns.
Was there prawns in that?
Oh gosh, yeah, they have a big scene of cooking the prawns in the kitchen.
Was it prawns or was it mackerel?
I thought it was prawns.
Or was it
the little?
Was it whitebait? Was it fishes? I thought it was fishes.
Well, either way, it's
you're cooking something with a tail. He's cooking something in batter with a tail.
Which I know.
Run, cat.
It's probably fairly easy to do. Maybe.
We've just gone for have you gone for an easy-ish one?
Well, there's not a huge amount that they eat in this film. That one that does stand out, I remember in the scene. Either that or potato. Okay. And I can go and buy them from a supermarket. That won't make it an interesting video. No, I want you to make it
from beginning.
Well, we could look into that.
Yeah, let's make the potato
croquettes. We're doing that instead, are we?
Yeah.
I'm imagining what they're like.
Yep.
And I'll never make them that good.
We will try.
I'm glad you're saying we, because when I first brought this up, it was
and cheer you on. I'm going to go, yay, Ian, yay, Ian. Make it heart-shaped, Ian.
That's the easy bit. So some trivia then. So this is more for the English-speaking version of the film, which is what we're going to generally look at, because we're lazy.
And therefore we've lost half our listeners.
Some of the actors. Jamie Lee Curtis.
I didn't realise half of these people.
Umi's mother. Yeah, no, I didn't get... Sometimes they do stand out.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. James Corden stands out. Every voice he does, and it
is irritating.
It's because you just imagine the person, and when you imagine a person, it kind of pulls you away from animation.
That's very true, actually. Yeah.
Gillian Anderson is Mickey. Who knew?
Yeah, I didn't get that.
But then to be fair, both of them have only playing very small parts.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, does it? Because yeah, I didn't get anyone's voice.
And Anton Yelchin, rest in peace, his son.
I didn't get that either.
But then he's not, I suppose, that's certainly at that point, and still, he's not got a standout voice in the sense of Jamie Lee Curtis, her voice, or you expect to know her voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, you generally know Anton with an accent.
That's it, isn't it?
From Star Trek, if you're not sure.
That is, yeah.
And also, Jamie Lee Curtis plays a random crying baby in a random scene.
She does. And we saw the video of her doing the noise of a baby crying, and it was scary.
It was weird.
It was like there was a baby crying, really crying.
I imagine, well, there must have been a baby crying with the original, but I suppose they didn't have to put the sound on there, and they just decided to throw it on because
I think I think Jamie Lee Curtis went, right, look at this one at parties. I can do this.
Party piece.
And they went, we're shoving that in.
I can survive mass murderers and... So we've decided to give it a Totoro out of 5.
Yep.
So what are we basing this score on then? Just overall enjoyment?
Yeah, I think based on, did you enjoy it? Would you watch it again?
Okay. So that's a hard one. Would I watch it again?
Well, give it 2 lots of Totoros out of 5. Give it a watchability.
Just do one score.
Oh, okay.
One score.
All right, you do one score.
I'll let you score first.
4 Totoros out of 5.
Okay.
Because it's one of my favourites, but it's not my favourite. It's not quite in the top 3.
I'm actually going to agree with that, which may surprise you.
It does surprise me.
It's got a story, which some Ghibli movies don't.
Oh, they're a snapshot. They're a snapshot of life at a certain point.
It's got a lovely story.
It has got a lovely story.
I love the whole clubhouse idea.
Yeah.
The whole feel of the movie, the look of the movie, the art is gorgeous. The music does slightly let it down, but I can ignore it. But yeah, overall, it's actually a good,
strong film, isn't it? Yeah. See.
I don't feel it's had that sort of reaction audience-wise when it was released. It wasn't as big as some of the movies.
It made $61 million worldwide.
So
it scored well on critic reviews and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I just don't think Ghibli gets. I mean, it's all on Netflix now, which is good. But I still think it's like it needs more love.
I think when it's not fantastical, that's when movies don't always.
So when it's like Piece of Life, so like Ocean Waves or something like that.
Yeah.
One.
When you haven't got like witches or big hairy creatures.
Oh yeah, there's no magic in this. This is just.
It doesn't portray as well to bring the audience in.
Maybe.
Kids especially.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right, but yeah, things like Only Yesterday, that's a snapshot of life, and I love that.
But at least they're not giving up trying these sort of things, such as The Red Turtle. Yeah, it has got a bit of fantastic in it.
Yes.
But it's still...
There's no words, is there?
No. So they're trying different things, but anyway. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
I'm pleased.
Fair play.
I am very pleased that you enjoyed it. Welcome to the Ghibli side.
So... keep an eye out. We may well have a video up on our YouTube channel. Just search
of you cooking.
My Neighbour.
Of you cooking. It will just be a lot of smoke and then possibly a fire engine turns up. That's what's going to happen. And then it'll be us standing outside the burning building of our house.
Ignore her. It's going to be highly entertaining, I'm sure.
Something.
But we're going to give it a go. But other than that, thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.
Check out our social medias.
Can you find them?
Can you
find them? Can you remember what they are? All of them.
Get a review up online. It helps us no end. And by all means, send us a little message if you have, just so we can find it in case it's we can't always find them if they're not UK based. We'll have to go search and see.
They hide.
So let us know and we'll give you a shout out.
Yeah.
And until next time, thank you very much.
Bye.